is a power in you that has been forgotten. It is not hidden in the stars, nor buried in sacred books. It is closer than your breath, nearer than your heartbeat, and you've used it every day of your life without knowing. It is your word. What if I told you that every sentence you've spoken has been planting seeds in the soil of the unseen, that every phrase you casually uttered has quietly shaped your destiny? The world would call this magic, but I tell you it is law, and those who know the law speak not of what is, but what shall be. Today you will not be given advice, you will be given a wand, and once it is in your hand, your life shall no longer be random. It shall be ruled by word, woven by faith, and governed by divine order. Your word is a wand. Every word you speak casts a spell. Every word you speak is a living force. It does not vanish into the air, nor is it idle or forgotten in the ethers. It becomes form. It is creative, magnetic, and eternal. Your word is your wand, and each time you speak, you are casting a spell, whether knowingly or in ignorance. When a magician wields a wand, he does so with intention. He understands the power that flows through it, and he directs that power with precision and belief. So too must you begin to understand that your spoken word is not casual. It is a tool of manifestation. It holds within it the law of cause and effect. What you speak, you begin to summon. What you repeatedly declare becomes the architecture of your reality. It is not enough to think well or imagine well if your words contradict the vision. Many hold noble thoughts, but cancel them with idle or fearful speech. You may visualize health, yet say, I always get sick this time of year. You may dream of wealth, yet speak continually of bills, lack, and misfortune. The spoken word overrides the silent hope, for the word is the command. Every word you release has the energy of affirmation behind it. It is either affirming faith or affirming fear. It is either setting your feet on the path of success or digging you deeper into the rut of repetition. You are never neutral when you speak. There is no harmless complaint, no insignificant grumble, no throwaway phrase. I can't is a spell. I never is a spell. This always happens to me is a spell. It's too hard is a spell. Even sarcasm, when repeated, becomes ritual. You do not jest with the law and escape its working. Your world is shaped by your word. This is the great secret that has been hidden in plain sight. From the beginning, creation moved by speech. Let there be light, and the law remains unchanged. As above, so below. You too are a creator, made in the image of that power, and your tools are words. This wand is always in your hand. You are casting spells when you speak over your body, your finances, your relationships, your children, your future. When you say she's always sick, you are affirming her frailty. When you say I'll never get ahead, you are commanding your prosperity to halt. The more emotion you attach to these phrases, the deeper the spell takes root. Words spoken in anger, frustration, fear, or grief carry tremendous creative charge. But just as you have used your wand unconsciously, so too can you begin to wield it with divine wisdom. You may revoke the curses you've spoken by replacing them with words of truth and power. Declare, I am healed, I am whole, I am strong, I am richly provided for. Money comes to me freely and effortlessly. Everything I need is already mine by divine right. I bless and prosper all I meet, and they in turn bless and prosper me. These are not merely affirmations, they are sacred declarations. They are the spiritual equivalent of planting seeds in fertile soil. Speak them often, with faith, and with the full authority of your spirit. You will begin to see your reality bend and shift to obey the law of your own word. If your word is your wand, then your mouth is the temple gate. Do not allow just anything to pass through it. Guard your tongue as you would a sacred vessel. When you speak, do so with awareness, with reverence, and with the consciousness that you are wielding power. You must become your own priest or priestess of speech. Bless your day before it begins. Speak peace over your home. Speak life over your body. Speak increase over your money. Speak love over your relationships. Even in the face of chaos, do not curse what you see. Bless it with your word, and it shall transform. There are those who scoff at such things. They believe the world is moved only by effort, toil, and logic. But the wise know that the invisible always precedes the visible. Word is spirit. Word is law. Word is life. Speak only what you desire to see manifest. To speak of what you fear, hate, or dread is to feed it. To describe your worries aloud is to give them form. To repeat the facts of limitation is to multiply their presence. If your desire is for health, speak only of health. If your desire is for freedom, speak only of freedom. If your desire is for wealth, speak wealth, and only wealth. The universe responds not to what you want, but to what you consistently declare. Every complaint, every statement of lack, every word of despair goes forth as a request. The law cannot be mocked. It will return to you that which you sow through thought, and even more so through speech. To say, I want a better life, and then speak constantly of how unfair the world is, how others are to blame, how you never get a break, is to contradict your desire. The spoken word must align with the inner vision. Your speech is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. It is the middle point where desire becomes decree, and decree becomes destiny. You must discipline the tongue. You must become master over the words that exit your mouth. For until your spoken word matches your divine desire, you will live in contradiction, and contradiction brings delay. There is power in silence, but greater power in pure speech. Some believe that to simply avoid negative words is enough. It is not. You must go further. You must speak life aloud. You must name and claim that which you desire, not once, not twice, but until it becomes the only language your soul knows. When you speak, do so as if you are placing an order with the infinite. You do not explain the problem, you state what you choose. You do not argue with the circumstances, you declare the outcome. Just as a painter does not describe the blank canvas, but begins to paint the vision, so too must your words become strokes of creation. Speak boldly. Speak confidently. Speak as one who knows the law. Speak in present tense, not future hope. Say, I am abundant, not I will be. Say, it is mine, not someday I'll have it. The future is always one step ahead. You must bring your word into the now, and when appearances contradict your spoken word, persist. When the bank account says otherwise, persist. When the doctor says otherwise, persist. When the facts do not yet reflect your declaration, persist. Speak only what you desire to see manifest, for in your consistency lies the miracle. If you falter and speak the old way, correct it immediately. Say, I cancel that. I do not accept it. I now speak truth. This is not denial, it is divine correction. It is you taking command of the creative process. For just as the farmer pulls weeds from his garden, so must you remove unworthy speech before it bears fruit. To speak only what you desire is not passive. It is not naive. It is a sacred discipline. It is spiritual maturity, and it requires faith of the highest order. To declare joy when sorrow knocks. To declare increase when the purse is empty. To declare love when you feel forsaken. This is the way of the Master Creator. This is the path of miracles. To speak is to summon, and what you summon comes. Therefore, speak carefully. Speak with love. Speak with power. Speak only what you desire to see manifest. Words of fear and lack bring more fear and lack. Every word you utter is a seed, and when that word is clothed in fear, it germinates quickly and bears fruit of its own kind. Fear is a powerful emotion, and when it attaches itself to speech, it becomes a magnet, drawing into form the very conditions that the soul dreads. When a person says, I'm afraid I'll lose my job, they are not just expressing a thought, they are issuing a command. That fear wrapped in words moves into the unseen and begins shaping events to match its image. Lack operates by the same law. When someone says, I can't afford it, or there's never enough, they are affirming limitation as truth. They are speaking lack into existence. The law does not consider whether the words are what you want. It simply reflects what you believe and declare. When words of lack become habitual, they build an invisible prison around a person's life. The more they are spoken, the more the soul accepts them as reality, and the harder it becomes to imagine anything else. Fear is often disguised as realism. People say, I'm just being practical, or I'm preparing for the worst, but in truth, they are rehearsing disaster over and over again with their words. And what is rehearsed repeatedly begins to appear. One who lives in fear and speaks of it constantly must not be surprised when fearful circumstances surround them. The universe listens not to intention, but to expression. It responds not to what you hope is true, but to what you claim is true with your word. This is why so many live under a constant cloud of worry. They speak fear when they rise in the morning. I hope today won't be as bad as yesterday. And they speak it before sleep. What if I can't make it through the week? Their life becomes shaped by the language of anxiety. The more they try to guard themselves from imagined trouble, the more trouble they seem to attract. This is not a punishment. It is the perfect reflection of law in motion. Fearful words bring fearful experiences. The same is true of finances. Words like, I'm broke, there's never enough, or I can't seem to catch up, create a vibration of poverty. These statements are not mere observations, they are decrees. They are seeds of scarcity, sown with the breath of your own life. And once planted, they attract their own confirmation. You may say it in jest or with sarcasm, but the law does not laugh. It only obeys. The one who understands this law begins to remove all fearful and limiting words from their vocabulary. They no longer say, I'm worried, but I trust. They do not say, I'm always unlucky, but everything works in my favor. They shift their language from reaction to creation. They speak not of what is wrong but of what is right. They speak not of what they fear, but of what they desire. And in doing so, they transform their world. When fear arises, as it often does in the human experience, the wise soul does not speak it. They transmute it. They may feel it, but they do not feed it. They bless the moment, affirm truth, and guard their speech with vigilance. For they know that once the word is spoken, it begins to shape reality, and they will not lend their creative power to that which they do not wish to live. You must understand that every complaint, every anxious prediction, every sarcastic remark about your struggles, these are incantations. These are verbal spells. These are affirmations of darkness, made in the absence of light. And the more you repeat them, the more powerful they become. This is not superstition. It is spiritual law. What you speak, you energize. What you energize, you create. And what you create becomes your experience. Begin then to notice your language. Catch the phrases of fear as they rise to your lips. Do not allow them to pass into the world. Replace them, immediately, with words of truth and peace. If you are tempted to say, I never have enough, say instead, I am abundantly supplied by unseen and unfailing sources. If you are tempted to say, I'm scared it won't work out, say instead, I walk in faith and divine order unfolds perfectly for me. Your words will begin to shift your vibration, and your vibration will call forth new experiences. To speak of fear is to invite fear. To speak of lack is to multiply it. But to speak of peace and supply is to summon them into your life. The law is always listening, always responding. It does not sleep. It does not skip over what you do not mean. It takes you at your word. So speak not of fear or lack, for they will find you if you do. Speak instead of faith, abundance, and the divine perfection already unfold. Speak with faith, not with doubt or desperation. The tone and energy of your word are as important as the word itself. Words spoken in desperation are often declarations of fear, cloaked in the language of desire. They say, I hope this works, or I really need this to happen. But underneath those phrases lies doubt, and doubt neutralizes power. The law responds not to the volume or repetition of your words, but to the faith behind them. To speak with faith is to speak with knowing. It is to declare that which has not yet appeared, as if it already were. It is to stand firm when appearances shout otherwise. It is to pronounce the unseen as real and to do so without trembling. When one speaks with faith, there is no begging, no pleading, no hoping. There is certainty, and that certainty is magnetic. Faith is not emotion. It is not loudness or excitement. It is inner conviction. A person may quietly say, my needs are met in miraculous ways, and move mountains. Another may scream affirmations from a place of fear and see nothing change. The law does not respond to noise. It responds to truth spoken in faith. Doubt infects the word like a virus. When you say, I am healed, I hope, or I trust the universe. But what if you split your energy? The spoken word becomes like a boat with two rudders steering in opposite directions. No movement can occur. The result is delay, frustration, and apparent failure. But the law is not to blame. The word was not unified with belief. Desperation is another disguise for doubt. When one pleads with the universe, repeats affirmations with anxious energy, or obsesses over outcomes, They are not speaking from faith. They are trying to manipulate the law through force. This is not how creation works. The universe is moved by confident command, not by emotional strain. Speak once, with conviction, and let it be done. Repeating a declaration out of fear that it hasn't worked only cancels its power. To speak with faith requires discipline of the inner life. You must guard your thoughts, your emotions, and your atmosphere. You must turn away from appearances and focus on truth. You must learn to anchor yourself in the unseen, even when all the visible seems to contradict it. And then you must speak, not to convince yourself, but because you know. You speak not to make it happen, but because it already has. The spoken word is like a seed, and faith is the soil. If the soil is poisoned with doubt, the seed cannot grow. But if the soil is rich with conviction, the seed takes root quickly and bears fruit. When you say, "It is already mine," the law begins to move instantly to fulfill your word. When you say, "I am guided, I am blessed, I am ready," and you believe it, the doors begin to open. If you find yourself doubting, do not speak until you are centered. Do not issue declarations from a place of panic. Go inward. Find your peace. Reconnect with your source. Then speak, as one who knows that the word is law. Say, "The situation is already resolved." Say, "I walk in divine right order." Say, "The perfect outcome now manifests." Say it once, and mean it. Do not speak of the problem. Speak of the solution. Do not describe the obstacle. Describe the result. Let your words be clean, focused, and faithful. The universe hears faith. The law moves at the sound of certainty. Your job is not to make it happen. Your job is to speak it as truth, and then trust that the machinery of the unseen is already working on your behalf. The one who speaks with faith commands the elements. They do not tremble before conditions. They shape conditions. They do not ask if the law will work. They know it is always working. Their word is not a question. It is a declaration. It is an imprint on the fabric of reality. And once it is spoken, the manifestation begins. Your subconscious accepts your word as law. The subconscious mind does not reason, analyze, or judge. It accepts. It receives every word you speak as instruction, as a command to be fulfilled. Whether the statement is true or false, helpful or harmful, the subconscious does not differentiate. When you say, "I always fail," it believes you and shapes your experiences accordingly. When you say, "I am guided and successful," it just as faithfully begins to arrange circumstances to match that claim. The spoken word impresses upon the subconscious and becomes the pattern for your life. Repetition deepens the imprint, and emotion accelerates the result. What you speak regularly becomes what you live daily. Do not describe the problem. Declare the solution. What you talk about grows, and when you continually describe the problem, you energize it. Every time you repeat the details of what's wrong, you are reaffirming that condition's place in your life. The law listens to what you emphasize. If you want change, you must shift your speech. Speak the desired outcome. Say, "Everything is working perfectly for me," instead of retelling the chaos. Declare peace, not disorder. Speak abundance, not debt. Do not feed the problem with words. Feed the solution with faith-filled declarations. Idle words create idle lives. Intentional words shape destiny. Words spoken without purpose are not harmless. They are directionless forces sent into the universe. Idle words, those of gossip, sarcasm, complaint, or doubt, scatter your energy and delay manifestation. They weaken your spiritual authority. An idle life often mirrors an idle tongue. But when your words become intentional, guided by faith and vision, they become builders of destiny. Each sentence becomes a brick laid in the structure of your future. Speak deliberately, as one who knows that every word is planting or uprooting, constructing or destroying, shaping or stalling your divine path. Speak as if it's already done. It is. Creation begins in the invisible, and your word is the blueprint. When you speak as if your desire is already fulfilled, you align with the law of assumption. Saying "I am" instead of "I will be" places your vibration in the present reality of the answered prayer. The universe responds to certainty, not to hoping or wishing. When you speak the finished result with calm confidence, conditions begin to rearrange themselves to match the word. You do not wait for evidence, you speak as the evidence. Words backed by emotion are the most powerful spells. The energy behind your words determines their creative force. Words spoken with deep feeling, whether of faith or fear, move swiftly into form. Emotion acts as fuel, intensifying the vibration of what is declared. When you speak with joy, conviction, and certainty, your words become magnetic, drawing in the very thing you affirm. But when you speak from panic, anger, or sorrow, you charge your words with that same energy, often manifesting chaos or delay. Choose your emotional state before you speak, and speak only what you wish to give life to with the full power of your feeling. Keynote 10. Your word is prophecy. Choose it wisely. Every time you speak, you are predicting your future. Whether consciously or not, your word becomes the script you are writing and the role you are rehearsing. To say, "Things never work out for me," is to prophesy failure. To say, "Everything is unfolding in perfect timing," is to call forth harmony. Your life will begin to reflect the narrative you continue to speak. Your word goes before you, shaping people, places, and circumstances to fulfill what you have spoken. You have now seen what the world has long ignored, that every word is a spell and every mouth a wand. You have learned that the subconscious is your silent servant. It accepts whatever you say, not with judgment, but with obedience. You now know to speak not of fear or lack, but to let your tongue be an instrument of vision. No longer shall you describe the problem. You shall declare the solution. No longer shall you speak with doubt, but with the fire of faith, as if it is already done. You shall plant only that which you desire to harvest, through words soaked in emotion and crowned with intention. You have seen that casual speech leads to casual fate, but the one who speaks with design shall walk into divine appointment. And now you understand the great secret. Your word is not a comment, it is a prophecy. So speak no more what you fear. Speak only what you choose, and the universe, bound by law, shall obey. Your word is prophecy, so speak wisely, and watch the world reshape itself to match your voice.